Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. I'm your host, Davion, and I'm joined by David
Yo,
and Lillian.
What's up?
And yeah, we're back for another brand new episode of our Let's Talk NBA series. It's one of our last ones. We have the Pelicans now and the Spurs right after this. And yeah, man, I'm excited to be done with the series because this one's draining. This was a very long. We've been on this series for what 3-4 months now, and I'm just excited for it to be done and buttoned up. But yeah, today we're gonna be talking about the New Orleans Pelicans and led by Zion Williamson and CJ McCollum. So what do y'all think the Pelicans like? What can what can they achieve this season?
Hey,
man.
this is a team that as long as they stay healthy, maybe this is a stretch, but I could see them making the finals.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Got them as dark horses. Like they got that potential to make some noise, but they got that potential to stay where they were as in last year, but build from last year.
Yeah.
But the siege wise, yeah, like Lillian said, highest finals, but won't win it. But lowest, that was AC last year, right?
Yeah.
I'll say highest 6, 7, but mostly lean on the 6th spot. I mean lowest.
Oh, okay. What's the highest for them then?
Highest, what you said, finals, but seed wise, I'll say around third or fourth.
All right, yeah.
So why do y'all think they can make the finals?
I think as long as they stay healthy, Zion Williamson already showed he was a dominant force. Brandon Ingram's an amazing ball player. You've got CJ McCollum for veteran leadership. He has playoff experience.
Not
You've
much.
got was it Jose Alvarado, who was a defensive pest last year. You got Jonas Valanciunas in the paint still. It's just all around a really well built team.
Yeah, I love Jose Alvarado. He reminds me of a little Pat Bev. He got that winning mentality, he got that hustle. I like skin Pat Bev, what he said. Then Herb Jones, I love that guy. Love that guy. He can play that D. He can play offense. Like you can play him from 2 to 4. Really, you can play him from 1 to 4. Really, if you wanted to, but you can have him guarding from 1 to 4. And then
So I mean, jump into David because something happened to him, I guess. So yeah, I mean, listen, that team. I'm not saying that they're a bad team. I think they're a really good team with Larry Nance, Jones Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram, Jose Alvarado, Jackson Hayes, who comes off the bench and definitely is a dominant center for them as well. CJ McCollum too. Like, don't talk about CJ McCollum in a second, but like this team has like so much depth that like they can be so good. Like I don't know if finals is it yet, but I think Western Conference Finals can be a shout. And I think that they have potential to definitely like make some noise in the playoffs and be a good team. But I also think like talking about CJ McCollum, that's probably one of the trades of the past 5 years. I think he's come in and add a complete change to leadership. He's shown and with him, we got him playing point guard now, and I think right, and he fits that role so well because he can control that offense and mimic what they do almost. And so I think with those additions, man, this team is so deep, man. They're so deep.
yeah, because the guard position, Jose, then you got Devontae, then you got Dyson Dillon's, CJ, you got BI, Herb. They just loaded from like the top 10 guys. You can actually just rotate them. Like they're all good.
Yeah, I mean, there's not very many teams you can look at them and say there's not a hole that I would fill on this team. And the Pelicans is one of those teams. I don't think there's anybody you can make a significant upgrade on unless you're getting like your KDs, your LeBrons, your Stephs. I think that this is the best team that they can build right now, and it's perfectly rounded out. It's full. It's an amazing team.
I completely agree. And so I mean, I definitely think it's a shock that y'all said finals. And I will definitely be clipping that because it's very funny.
I'm just
But I
saying it's a possibility.
but I also think like we just said, like this team is deep and like so what do y'all think Zion can achieve this season?
Oh, that man's gonna be an all-star again. I would say all NBA,
Can he
probably.
be in the MVP conversation?
Could be like,
I mean,
not top three, not finalists, but he'll be in the conversation.
yeah, anything's a possibility. I just think there's a lot of players that he'd have to catch up to after not playing for a whole year. So I think I would I will give you an answer in like a month.
Well, we will be here in about a month. So, Dave, you guys something to say, David?
I do predict all NBA, like Lillian said, and comeback player of the year.
Yeah. I mean, with like you said, with him coming back this season, what does that mean for Brandon Ingram?
I don't think I don't think it means nothing. Like he's still gonna be BI. Just an extra force. Like I think he know. Like he played with LeBron. He know the barriers of like, being the leader when the leader's out, and then taking a step back. Like BI, I think he got this.
I mean, but should he have to?
Yeah, of course. Like that's why the Pelicans drafted Zion there too, because he's their face of the franchise. And I think it all just comes to a mentality of understanding that. And I really think young BI, he probably didn't understand that. But now, as him getting older, playing alongside CJ, then CJ use his personality and see his mentality and his leadership rub on BI. So I just feel like, yeah, I mean, he'll adjust to that. And yes, and if he have to, he have to. You just feel like it's all about winning now.
I mean, I don't think BI really needs to take a step aside. I think we've seen in the past two really good players can coexist and play well together. Like, I'm not going to put them on the same level. This is just like we've seen an example of two great players. We've seen Steph and KD play together and still be at the top of their games. So I'm not going to say Zion comes in and then all of a sudden Brandon Ingram's down to 18 points a game. I still think we see Brandon Ingram get like 20, 21 a game. And CJ McCollum will rack up more assists, throwing lobs to Zion. Like, I think this is a team that meshes well together, and I don't think anybody has to take a step back for Zion.
So, head coach Willie Green, I think he's gonna definitely have a challenge. Not a challenge, but I definitely think it's gonna be a big thing, trying to keep everybody humbled in that bait. And I think for this team to work, everyone's gonna have to realize that we need each other. All right. One of us can't be the big alpha because that doesn't work for this team. And I think if they can all stay humbled and they can all realize that they need to work as a team, I think this team can go far. But I also think, onto that point, like I also think, like here's more of a question: do we think they need one more season before they can reach the finals? Is this really it? This is really it.
I think next year the chances like greatly improve, but I think it's a possibility for this year.
Yeah, they're more of a dark horse. Not, I want to say like final contenders or whatever. I'm more of a dark horse. Next year, they'll probably be in that conversation. I'm trying to think like title contention. I wouldn't say title contention, but they'll still be like on the lookout team. Well, I'll say give it 2 years though. If this whole team is together, same team, give it 2 years, and they can reach the finals.
Well, any final thoughts on the Pelicans?
It was something I was going to say that is aggravating.
I mean, obviously, doing this as late as we are, it's October 5th. We've seen the Pelicans play now a game, and I think that what we saw from Zion Williamson coming off a full year of missing, but losing all of that weight, getting in shape, that's some of the best basketball I've seen Zion play, and we've seen him play some amazing basketball. That man was jumping higher. He's getting chased down blocks. I mean, I saw he received the ball in the post on one play, took one step and dunked it. And I mean, that's just a dominant force that I think almost anybody in this league would have a tough time stopping.
Mm. Oh, and to go back on your point of if the whole team can stay together with humility and humility, I guess, whatever, blah blah blah. I feel like they don't have that alpha dog type player like Zion. He don't need the ball. Like he can play off ball. He can play a role in the defense or whatever. I feel like that team just real like Lillian said, they really mesh well.
I mean, but do you think, I mean, Zion being a number one pick, being, has been that alpha he's been an alpha since middle school. He's been the guy that everyone's talked about. He's been that guy since middle school. And now him being away for an entire year, but now coming back, still being talked about, still was that guy that everybody was talking about. Him now coming back into the system, if it doesn't work the way he doesn't want it to work, like, I'm not saying he's good. This is going to happen. That he's going to be an alpha and very arrogant man because I don't know Zion, so I can't really critique him. But like, I just think like with teams like this, and we see, and this is why like big teams get blown, like super teams, or not even super teams, but teams with a lot of talent get blown up because people's egos start to get in the way. So I think my preference for saying that is like, I just hope no one's ego get in the way of the ultimate goal, which is a championship.
Yeah, I personally seen Zion like in his interviews growing up, just talking away. He just want to win. He has that Steph Curry type alpha dog. Like he'll take that step back. He just want to win. Like look what he stated in his contract thing. He was like, I just really want to win. It's not even about the money. You want to get fit, get in shape. Just want to just succeed.
I agree. I think with CJ McCollum, we saw him in Portland. He was willing to be the second option. So I don't think that his ego will be an issue. And
I don't think CJ wasn't even
like David said, I think that Zion, he just wants to win. And we saw him in his interviews during media day. He's just happy to be there. That man was smiling the entire time. He was having so much fun. I think the biggest question mark is Brandon Ingram. We haven't seen him at the level he's playing at now with somebody else really good. And so I think that's the biggest question mark is how does Brandon Ingram respond? But my prediction will be that Brandon Ingram is okay with it and they'll work well together. Because we saw with the Celtics, Ime Udoka as much everything around him, whatever. As a coach, we saw him rally Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum to be willing to put their egos aside and just play together. And it worked out really well. So I think as long as Willie Green can make sure that happens, the Pelicans will be in a great spot.
Completely agree. So, is that the final thought of the day? Yeah. Well, appreciate y'all for listening to this episode.
Wait.
Well, David,
one question. Top. How can I say? Where would you rank Zion?
Well, he missed the entire season, so it's hard for me to really say.
I'm not ranking him right now.
So I would say he's top 10 in the league because last time we saw Zion, he averaged 28 points, and he was a dominant force. So you would have to say anybody who's averaging over 28 averaging 28 points a game is definitely a top 10 player in the league, and so I think you'd have to give him top 10. Have to.
Better than Luka?
That I will not answer. But if you enjoyed the episode today, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Lillian and David, thank y'all for joining. My name is Davion, and I've been your host today. This has been another episode of the Post Game. Peace.